All right. Hey, folks, Ty Cohen here from Kindle Cashflow, and we've got another Kindle Cashflow live event coming up, and I'm excited about that, but I'm also excited about the individual that I have right here with me, Andrea Cadelli. Andrea, we're going to get into your story. We're going to talk about how you got started with Kindle Publishing and a little bit more, right? We were just talking for a few seconds, and I said, hold on, we got to stop this because I want to make sure that everything is recorded because your energy is incredible. So before we get into her story, here's what I want you to do. I want you to make sure that you pay attention to everything that we talk about. I want you to make sure that you like, you share, and you comment. So if Andrea says something that's amazing, if I say something that you resonate with, comment. Let us know, right? And as a result, you're going to be entered in to win. We've got our cold cash and hot prizes giveaway, so we give away some awesome prizes every once in a while. Andrea, I don't know if you've ever seen or participate in any of our prize giveaways, but we give away things like Apple computers, Apple watches, Amazon gift cards. We've got some AirPods over here, and we literally just give away like tens and tens of thousands of dollars worth of stuff. Like every quarter, we've got some Kindle Cashflow book bags and laptop bags. So
Ty, I just entered my video testimonial in this morning because I'm going to win.
There you go. Hey, that's a beautiful way of starting this thing off. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. All right. So listen, this is how you are entered in to win, by just engaging in this conversation that Andrea and I are about to have. So go ahead, comment, like, share, do anything. Every action enters you in to win. So Andrea, you just left your video testimonial, right? So that's how you started it off. Let us know. Like I know a little bit about you because I've been stalking your post for a while. And then, you left an amazing video in our Facebook group. And then after that, I really went back and started looking at some of your posts as well. But for those of you who don't know Andrea Cadelli, who are you? Like, where do you come from? What's your background?
Yeah. So my background is actually in corporate retail. I spent about 20 years working for Walmart and Sam's Club here in Bentonville, Arkansas. Nice. Right out of graduate school, I was hoping to become a director. I actually have a Master of Fine Arts in theater and looked for about 2 years trying to find a role as a director, a theater director, and never could find one. And I said, man, I got to get to work because at this point, I was out of undergrad. I was now out of graduate school. And I'm like, I got to make some money. So, a friend of mine said, well, Walmart headquarters is right up the road. You should apply. And I thought, well, what am I going to do there? Like, I don't know anything about retail, Right. And she said, but you're a great communicator. You can get a job as, a communication specialist. So I thought, well, let me try. So I applied for a communication manager at the home office and they interviewed me and I got it. So that's kind of how my journey started with Walmart and Sam's Club. And I spent most of my career there working in marketing, communications. I did a short stint in training and development where I built out programs and then built a team to train the executives on those programs. And then I spent about 3.5 years in Walmart television, which was really fun because I got to write, create, produce, and direct all their corporate videos. So that was a lot of fun. Nice. And it really brought my background in. But then in 2016, I got laid off and it was totally unexpected. Yeah. I was in change management. So I'd been in change management about a year and I loved it because change management really brought marketing, communications, training and development, all the things I loved doing. It brought all of those under the same umbrella and it was part of my job.
Tied it all together.
Yeah, I tied it all together and I was like, oh my God, this is like the best job I've ever had. Right. And I'd been in the role about 10 months, Ty, when they laid off pretty much the whole department. Oh, wow. Got laid off. And so I was pretty upset about it just because I loved what I was doing. And I thought, there's got to be a blessing somewhere in all of this. And I thought, I've been working corporate retail for almost 20 years. Maybe it's just time to do something different. Maybe this is my window of opportunity because I wouldn't have left the company. I really liked working there. And I thought, sometimes God gives us a little push off the ledge when we're not willing to jump off the ledge ourselves. So I thought, this is it. I'm going to do something completely different. I didn't know what that was at the time, but I knew I wanted to write books because I'd always wanted to do that. I'm a storyteller. That's why I got my degree in theater. I'm just passionate about stories. I love to write. And I thought, I'm going to do something with book publishing. And I didn't know what that looked like, but I just had that feeling that it was something I wanted to do. Right. So I published a book in 2017. It was actually sort of a memoir called Life After This. And it was really a spiritual journey told through stories from my life about difficult things I've had to overcome. And because I've lost all my younger siblings very tragically. A lot of things have happened to me in my life, and I'm not going to go into them on the video. But a lot of things have happened to me that really were difficult things that I had to overcome in my life. And I thought, I want to write this book because maybe somebody out there is going through something difficult in their life.
Yeah.
And maybe one of my stories might inspire them that, hey, this is hard now, but there is light at the end of that tunnel, and things will get better over time. And so I shared these 6 stories from my life and tied those stories into how they really grew me as a person. Mm-hmm. And so I published that book in 2017, and I had a book launch team. That was the only thing I knew to do, was to have a book launch team. So I had about 100
people launching books, right? Yep.
Yeah. So. And I was like, I need a book launch team. So I did that, but that was really all I knew. I didn't know how to do ads. I didn't really know any other marketing or book promotion type of things. I just
building your list, engaging.
Yeah, I didn't know any of that. I didn't know any of that yet. So I did the best I could. The book actually did fairly well. I think I've got like 52 reviews on the book.
I want to read your book. Like, give us the title of this thing, because, and I'm gonna stand up a little bit, but I need the title of this book. Life After This.
Life After This.
All right. So guys, go in and check that out, because one of the things, Andrea, that I found is that sometimes we have obstacles in our life, and if we share our stories, other people can relate, and it's therapeutic for them. It doesn't even have to be the same thing.
Exactly.
Right? It's just that they know that there's someone else that may have gone through something, and that person is sharing. So I definitely want to read your book. I'm grabbing a copy after this.
Well, it's all stories. It's stories. So it reads quickly. Yeah.
Yep. I love it. One of my favorite books is The Alchemist, right? It's story based, but
I love it. I love that book.
Yeah.
It's such a great book. Yeah.
I want to go back to you working at Walgreens. I was working at Walgreens, so Walmart. Right? So you working at Walmart, and like at the time, you're at this job for two decades, 20 years, right? And you get this notice that, hey, guys, we're laying you off. Like, that had to be a great thing to happen, but it didn't seem like a great thing at the time.
Absolutely.
How did you process that? Like, in the moment, how did you process that and say, you know what, I'm going to get past this? And 20 years. And I saw a post of yours in a Facebook group where you said that one of the most hurtful things was the family that you've developed, right? Because we work at a company for such a long time. You get to know people, you get to know their families as well. So that I thought was inspiring.
Yeah, because Ty, when you do anything, no matter what your career is in, when you spend 60 hours a week with a group of people, you spend more time with those people than you spend sometimes with the people in your own home, 100%. And they do become a really important part of your family. Yeah. And it's a grieving process when you get separated from those people. There's a grieving. It's like losing everybody that you love in a train wreck, So it was definitely a difficult thing that happened to me. But in the back of my mind, and I think I talk about this in the book, but in the back of my mind, I thought, you know what? Nobody but me gets to determine my success. And with or without Walmart, I'm going to continue to be successful because I add value. Walmart doesn't add value to me. I add value to Walmart.
That's why they hired you.
Yeah.
That's why they hired you, right? And that's why you stuck around that long. That's why they kept you around that long, right?
Yeah. So I just, in the back of my mind, I kept telling myself, they don't get to determine my value. They don't get to determine my worth. They don't get to determine whether I'm going to be successful or not. I get to choose that. I get to determine that. And that's kind of what just kept me going forward. But it was a blow because I didn't expect it. So you do what you do, and
and you keep pushing on, right? Have you always been that type of individual? Because there's, it seems like you have a mindset of someone that's super responsible, right? You look at people, and if you have kids, sometimes you'll see your kids, right? Some of them, they are the type that is a responsible individual and they'll accept personal responsibility. And then there's others that will shift the blame. Because you could have easily said, oh, poor me, Walmart, screw them, blamed everything on them, but you took the other route. You said, you know what, if it's to be, it's up to me, which is one of our mantras here.
Yeah, I love that mantra. I say it all the time.
Yeah. So like, was that always you, or did you grow into that individual?
I think I grew into that person. A lot of it, it comes from my dad was a school teacher. And so he taught me a lot of responsibility as a young person. Like I had to be early everywhere I went or I was in big trouble. So my dad taught me a lot of that. But I think the difficult things that I dealt with that I talk about in my book, I think is what really developed me into the person I am today. I mean, I'm grateful for the things I've struggled with because I think, gosh, that's why I can handle the things I handle today. It's why I can, be inspiring to other people. So I think I grew into it, but my dad being a teacher, he definitely set the stage for when I'm talking to you, you look me in the eyes, Andrea, so I got a lot of that from him as well.
Kind of sounds like my dad. My dad used to say the same thing, right? You look someone in the eyes so that they know you mean business.
That's
handshake, right? You're making sure that your handshake is firm. You
That's
stand tall. Right. He talked about if you're not on time, you're late. Right.
That's right. Oh my God. Your dad was my dad. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was the generation, right?
Yeah, totally.
I mean, they took things serious, and they took things serious so much to the point where it could be like, okay, Dad, all right, I get it. Like you're doing a little bit too much. But then as you grow up, you realize like, man, these are life lessons that are just really working in my favor now.
Yeah.
If we accept them. Because we can choose to accept them, or we can also choose to say, hey, screw this. I'm going to be late when I get it.
You want to hear the funny part, Ty? Is now I hear myself saying those same things to my niece and nephew.
There you go.
And I'm like, oh my God, my dad, that's my dad. And I hear myself saying those same things to them because I want them to learn how to be good communicators. I want them to be responsible. All the things he wanted for me. I find myself wanting those same things for them as well. So
let's jump into that, right? I want to go left a little bit. You've got this communication background. You've done a lot of videos and pieces for Walmart.
Yeah.
What constitutes a good communicator? And the reason why I'm asking you this is because as someone that's a publisher, as an author, as a marketer, communication is key.
Yeah.
Right. You come in contact with people that you meet one-on-one, and then you also come in contact with a ton of people that you'll never meet, your readers, people that are on your email list. So like, what are some good indications of someone that's a good communicator, whether you're in person or not?
Yeah. So I'll give you a few that are really key.
Okay.
One, you got to have a great hook. So if you're communicating in a meeting, you want to start out with something that's interesting or that catches people off guard, that just makes them go, whoa, quit looking at my Twitter feed. What did he just say? So you got to have something really powerful that catches people's attention early on.
Okay.
Because that's how you're going to divert the attention to you and what you have to say.
Yep.
Secondly, I would say being very specific in what you want to communicate. So people shouldn't be sitting there going, wait a minute, what is she talking about? It needs to be very specific and concise, right? You cut out all the extra fluff. You don't need the extra words. Make it concise to where there's no chance that people can walk away confused by the message. So those are a couple things: is hook them quick with something that's going to catch their attention, keep it specific, and keep it concise.
All right. So you know what? So both of those apply so much in what we're doing with Kindle Publishing. Catching their attention, right? Having a pattern interrupt. I like to call it a pattern interrupt because you've got all this other stuff that's going on, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Whoa!" Right? Let me look up what's going on here. In your book, it could be your title, it could be your description, it could be the first couple of sentences in your description. That's a total pattern interrupt from anything else that they've read as they're surfing on Amazon and looking at the next book to buy. Right? Yours is totally different and it stands out. They may not even realize why it's standing out. Like it may be something that's totally off. I was talking to Nate Mascari, and we'll get into that as well, right? The Facebook ad expert.
Yeah.
And he was talking about like with some of his ads, they're just so simple and so plain, but there's this pattern interrupt that's in that first sentence to the point where people are just like, what did that just say? Like they're scrolling Facebook and they see this ad and they're just like, what? And then that takes them to the next level where they actually have to click, and then they're engaged and everything else happens after that. So the second thing that you said is just be very specific, to the point where people know exactly what you're talking about. And I think this comes in handy when you're dealing with like ghostwriters or a graphic designer. Like you are super specific, super clear, to the point where there is no misunderstanding. They read your job posting and they know exactly what it is that you want. So what I'll do is, and I talk about this at Kindle Cashflow Live, right? What I'll do is in my job posting, I'll ask them a question. I'll say, read the job posting, and then you tell me what it is that you think I want you to do.
Yeah.
And hopefully my job posting has been clear enough that they can go back and tell me exactly what it is that I want them to do. Okay, you want me to create a cover for a romance novel? You want a man and a woman on it? You want it to be, medieval based? You want it to have this type of a background? And you want me to use my expertise as a graphic designer to fill in the blanks? Right. So it should be super, super clear. So I love that. I love it.
Yeah.
What would you classify yourself as, a writer, or do you prefer to outsource having like your content created?
So I enjoy coming up with the story ideas. So I do like outsourcing to a ghostwriter. And I think it's fun to collaborate, because the way that it's worked is I'll come up with kind of the main story idea, kind of a rough plot, but then I always ask the ghostwriter, what are your opinions? What do you think I'm missing? And you start that collaborative process that makes a good idea great.
Right.
So I enjoy working with the ghostwriters, and I do enjoy writing. I wrote this book. I did write on my own.
Okay.
So I enjoy writing, but I wanted to, I was like, I need to bring in people that are more skilled at writing than myself.
Yeah. You know what? So you're on the right track, right? Because I read something a while back that some of the writers like a Stephen King or the late Tom Clancy, Agatha Christie, folks who have like volumes of books, they'll do the same thing. Like they'll go in and they'll draft out like the plot or the storyline, and then they give it to someone on their team to go in and flush it out. So that's how you have some of these writers that are just cranking out books one after the other, when you'll think like, hey, it's impossible. Like, how does this person, like, they must not have a life outside of just writing, because they're just cranking out books. But that's it, right? So they're coming up with the storylines, the plots, and then they're passing it on to someone else that's a great writer who knows their style and, pushes it through. So what genre are you in right now?
So I started out in cozy mystery.
Okay. All right.
Cozy mystery. Yeah.
What got you started in cozy mystery?
Well, I think two reasons why I chose it. The first reason was I love mystery books. Like I love to read mystery and suspense. That's probably my favorite book to read. So that was one reason. But then I didn't know a lot about cozy mystery. So I thought, well, if I go into cozy mystery, I'll learn some new things about a genre I'm not as familiar with. So I started doing a ton of research on cozy mystery, looking up who are the big cozy mystery writers, what are kind of the requirements of the genre. And the more I started researching it, I thought, man, this is a kick butt genre. This is like a really fun genre.
So got you excited.
Oh yeah. I started getting so excited about it. But I wasn't familiar with it before I chose it.
Gotcha. Okay.
So yeah.
I was just thinking about back, like some of my favorite mystery books used to be like Encyclopedia Brown. This was when I was a kid, right? I don't know if you've ever read any Encyclopedia Brown books. The Nancy Drew.
I've read the Nancy Drew books when I was a kid. Yep.
Books, and there was a ton of them.
So many. I don't even know if I read them all, but yeah, I was a big Nancy Drew fan as a kid.
Yeah, me too. I remember my mom, like I would beg her for these books, and she was like, when are they going to stop publishing? Like I remember that explicitly, her saying like, when are they going to stop putting these books out? Because I had to have every single one.
Yeah,
so cool. But that was the formula, right? So they had the formula down, and it's similar to the formula that we're using now. Same formula, right? So having a series, having a set of books that we continuously, hook the reader in on. They buy the first book, and then the second one, and then the third one, and they're doing that because they consistently love the storylines.
Yeah.
So, like, what's your favorite process outside of, like, when it comes to publishing a book or a series? Like, what's your favorite part of that entire process? Is it writing out the storyline? Is it hiring?
Well, I love coming up with the storyline just because of the storyteller that I feel like that's what I really do. So I love that process of just ideating, figuring out the plot. I like choosing the exact moment where the story is going to start, because I don't always start the story in the beginning, right?
Okay.
Sometimes I pick the most interesting moment and start the story there as my hook. And then we go back and pick up the pieces that we need later. So I really love figuring out the story, but I think my second favorite part of the process, Ty, has got to be the research. When I joined the program in March, I probably spent 3 to 4 weeks just really researching the genre, what book do I want to model. I spent a lot of time doing that because I enjoy it.
I do too. That's my overall favorite.
I love it.
And then communicating with outsourcers, because I outsource everything. If I was to write something, it would be terrible. But so the research process, because what I'll do is I'll typically spend maybe 30 to 45 minutes a day when I'm in research mode. And this is not every day. And I'm amazed at the different avenues that you can go down. And I'll keep a spreadsheet of everything, right? So all of the ideas, like I have ideas for years. As you go down a rabbit hole, right? You start to find more and more ideas. So it's really cool.
Yeah,
right.
I love that part as well.
Got it.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. Like, what do you contribute to your results? Because I noticed that you're someone that continues to push. I know that you've had some obstacles. I think you've had some obstacles with writers. You've had some obstacles with Facebook ads. Like, what do you contribute to the results that you're getting now?
I think where I think a lot of my results, because this morning I checked and I had 142 pre-orders, and I have done no marketing yet. So with zero marketing, I've got 142.
Hold on, because you're a little bit too humble with that right there. All right. If you did not hear what she said she has 142 pre-orders. She kind of spread through that right there. Right. So I want to take a moment to just congratulate you. If you're not paying attention, rewind this 30 seconds, 142 pre-orders, and let's congratulate her in the comments below there, because that's big. This is one of the things that I think that everyone who's publishing, everyone that's starting a business, whatever it is that they're getting results at, they need to recognize like what could be seen as the small wins. 100 pre-orders, 10 pre-orders, 75 pre-orders. Like, just step back and just be like, man, this is amazing. Especially considering if you think about where you were at 6 months ago and thinking about like that process, like that's a major win right there. So I didn't want to interrupt your story, but I did want to recognize the fact that you're at 142. And you didn't say 140-ish. 130 something, 100 something.
I'm proud of that extra too, Ty. I'm proud of that extra too.
I love it. Right.
So I think why I'm seeing the results I'm seeing so far is two things. I think one is I think like a marketer, just from, my career with Walmart and doing marketing. And I was over email marketing for all of Sam's Club for 9 years. So I think like a marketer. And at the end of each book, I put a lot of thought of how I was going to direct them to the next book.
Nice.
A lot of thought of how I was going to create that funnel to get them to go to the next book. And I did that for every single book. Mm-hmm. And people are already, Murder and Grits, the very first book, it's up for pre-order, and people are going from the lead magnet and they're pre-ordering it. So I think that's part of it. I think the second thing is I've started my email marketing on September 1st. I've got 1,400 people. I've got 1,400 subscribers in 15 days?
In 15 days? Are you serious?
I started September 1st and I have, I've got 1,400 people in my email list.
Wow. Okay.
So in 15 days, I'm like, God, that feels like a win. That feels like a lot of people in a short amount of time.
I got to tell you, that's huge, Andrea. In 2 weeks, that is big.
Okay. Well, I thought it was, but I don't have anything to compare it to. It's like,
yes. Yeah.
Okay.
That is major. 1,400 folks, and 2 weeks. That is really big there. Yeah.
Well, I'm excited about it, and I want to emphasize, I really spend a lot of time, Ty, building that relationship with my email subscribers. Mm-hmm. I talk to them like they're in the room with me. I share things with them. I do games, I do trivia, create crossword puzzles for them that have the characters' names in the book so they can kind of, learn who the characters are. I spend a lot of time developing that relationship with them. And I think that makes a difference. I really do.
Oh, of course it does. That makes a big difference. That makes a huge difference. I want those are the two. I want to talk about both of those things, right? Because I think that the person that's watching this right now, their head is exploding, in a good way. Because you're fake, right? In a good way, right? If you can, that may not be a good visual, right? Like someone's head. In a good way, you got to pick up the pieces and everything else, right? Yeah. We're getting a little bit too close to Halloween, as you can tell, right? So,
yeah.
So your continuation in your books, because that's something that hooks someone, right? We were talking about hooking at the very beginning and keeping them engaged in the way that a television series would. At the end of each series, your favorite series, right? There's this piece that is going to take place on the next episode, but the next episode doesn't take place until like the next week, unless you're binge watching.
Yeah.
So you've incorporated that same type of a formula in your books. Like, what does that look like? What does that process look like for you?
So I'll tell you, and I follow the program to the T. So I end every book with a major cliffhanger. Every book ends with a major cliffhanger that just leaves the audience sitting on the edge of their seat. And then I just start asking questions, right, about things that are going to happen in the next book to create that sense of curiosity, right? So I start asking questions, and then I say, follow so-and-so on her journey through Savory, Alabama, as she blah, blah, blah. And I kind of give them a little teaser of what they're going to see in the next book. Yep. And then I give them a short excerpt. So after that, I give them a short excerpt, and I have I have a call to action at the very end of the book. I have a call to action at the next in series page, and I have a call to action in the free excerpt. So I ask them 3 times to go buy that next book.
I see it. So that's the true marketer in you coming out.
Yeah.
Not afraid to go in and ask for that next action.
That's right.
I think that's a mistake that a lot of people make. They think that, hey, if I email too much, people are going to unsubscribe. Well, I got news for you. They're going to unsubscribe anyway.
Yeah.
The people that are not meant to be on your list are going to unsubscribe. They're going to complain about something anyway, right? You probably saw that working at Walmart. I don't know how much.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. So you guys were like, Walmart is like the epitome of customer service, right? And no matter what you do, you can't satisfy everyone. There's going to be the people that are not satisfied. The other thing is having a call to action. So some people are like, hey, I don't want to have more than one call to action in my book.
Well, I have 3.
So that you've got 2 additional chances of getting them in. It's like if they don't see the first one, which is a good chance that they probably won't see it, or if they do see it, they're going to intend to go in and come back and take that action, which they probably won't do. But now you've got 2 more reminders.
Yeah.
So the first one, hey, here's what you can do. Okay, I'm going to get to that. And then something happens, right? Life happens, procrastination takes place. But then the second one is a reminder. And then the third one is like, okay, let me go in and do that. Super smart. Yeah. All right. So then, like, is that something that you just came up with on your own? You just said, hey, I'm going to plug it in and see what happens. What was that thought? Is that your background?
Well, I'm going to give a shout out to my coach, Rodney Clack, because Rodney and I talked about it. I said, hey, Rodney, can I just, at the end of the book, can I just like ask him to buy the next book? And he said, well, yeah, you can, do that. So I'm like, cause here's what I'm thinking. And I kind of ran what I was thinking by Rodney, and he totally reaffirmed that I was looking at it the right way. He said, yeah, you're thinking like a marketer. That's what you need to do. And so shout out to Rodney. He has really helped me a lot. I really enjoy my calls with him. Rodney and I, we're like brother and sister. We have great, like Rodney and I have the best energy together, So
that is cool.
But yeah, so I basically ran my idea by Rodney, and because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't doing something that would be so out of the ordinary that people would go, what is this? This writer's asking me to buy the next book,
And I haven't even finished this one, right? Like they're asking me to buy. Yep.
Yeah.
Right. So let's do this. So anyone that's interested, they're probably wondering who's Rodney Clack. And if you're in the Facebook group, you already know Rodney. You've probably seen him around. He's one of the coaches and he's super helpful. But if you want to get in contact with him, go into the Facebook group. You can get into our Facebook group. Our open community Facebook group by going to kindlecashflow.com/Facebook, and then look for Rodney. Just search Rodney Clack and send him a message and say, hey, Rodney, I'd love to get on a call with you. Or you can go to kindlecashflow.com/call, CALL, and schedule a call with Rodney or any of our other coaches. We've got like Sue White that's in there, who's amazing,
Yeah.
Caroline Trainer, Seth Taylor, Nate Mascari, who's in there as well. So now you talked about like having the continuation, right, in your books, getting them to actually go in and commit to buying the next book.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the other thing that you talked about is your relationship in your emails. You talked about crossword puzzles, which I think is freaking brilliant. Like having some of the character names in a crossword puzzle.
Yeah.
All of the other engagement tactics that you're using. How did you come up with that, and what does that look like outside of the crossword puzzles?
Well, I think, when I was kind of sitting down and plotting out how do I want to build this relationship, I knew that because I'm in cozy mystery, one thing that attracts people to cozy mystery, it's a fun genre. There's a high entertainment value. Usually have, some whimsical, fun characters. So I thought, one thing that I already know about these people is that fun is important to them.
Yep.
They want to have fun. So I thought, okay, well, what ways can I engage with my readers that will create that sense of play, that will give them that sense of fun entertainment that they like in the genre? Okay. And so I just started looking up a bunch of stuff like, trivia, riddles, I'm in mystery. Let's have them figure out. So I have all kinds of fun games, and I actually call my list the VIP Mystery Book Club. I don't even call it. I'm like, you're joining my VIP Mystery Book Club. And
they're joining for free, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. So when they join, I want it to be as fun as possible. I want it to be a memorable experience. So I do a lot of different things to make it to make it unique. Creating the crossword puzzles with character names. I've done riddles. I've done trivia. I've done word search. I've done all kinds of things. And then I intersperse in there information, about my pen person, my pen name, a little bit, so they feel like they know me. I've told them some funny stories of things that have happened to me in the past. What else have I shared with them? And then I've shared a lot about, how did I come up with the idea for the characters in the story so they start getting excited about the story. And then I do lots of book swaps and promos, and they love it. They're going nuts. I'm not bragging. I think this is good.
No, you have to.
I don't like to brag, but I think this is good, Ty, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but my engagement metrics are through the roof in my email. I've got an average of a 40% open rate, which I think is pretty high, right? At least at my time.
Insane. In an industry where you're lucky to have 10%, 7%, 8%, 40% is nuts.
Okay, so that's my average. And then my average click-through on just my overall list is 13%, which I think that's a pretty good click-through rate. Now, when you look at my ARC list open rate is 70%, and their click rate is 29% click-through. So I'm really working hard to build that relationship, and I hope it's going to pay off during my launch. I think it will. I've already had people start emailing me, telling me how much they like the book. Can't wait for the next one. They love the characters. So I don't know. It feels good. It feels good.
You're definitely on the right track. I mean, you're beyond being on the right track. I mean, you've got everything going for you. You've got the click-through rates. You've got the open rates. The thing that I love about you is that you know your genre, like you know your audience. It's easier to keep an audience engaged and to sell them and to continue selling them when you know them. So the fact that you know that your folks are mystery thriller, not thriller, but cozy mystery lovers, right? And now you've got these crosswords in here, right? Where you've got the character names. You have, all of the other mystery elements that they love about reading this type of genre, right? Then it just all fits in. It just all makes sense for them. Like you're giving them more of what they've actually said yes to your book about, right? Yeah. If that makes sense. So super, super cool. What else you got? It looks like you were about to say something.
Well, I was trying to think. And the other thing that I share, which it seems like they really like a lot, I'll go find funny videos on YouTube, because one thing about cozy mystery, there's always a sense of humor in cozy mystery, and so you'll usually have some humorous characters. So I'll go out, and all my stories take place in the South. So I have a couple of sites where I find funny videos about living in the South. Right. And because my story takes place in the South, I'm like, well, let me share some of these funny videos about living in the South. Because if they don't live in the South, this will kind of introduce them to, life in the South. And they love them. They love those videos. So I just
live in North Carolina. I live in North Carolina, so I'm just imagining all of the many things that are different, right?
Yeah.
And that can be considered just kind of humorous. So that's a beautiful idea. So now let me ask you a question. So now I see that you joined like the KCF Fastpass program. What was it that made you want to join? Was it like being at Kindle Cashflow Live, being in a regular KCF Facebook group? Like, what was it that said, hey, I'm going to join the Fastpass and see what happens?
Well, I'll tell you why I joined KCF to begin with. So when I joined in March, I was joining from the get. Like I joined then. I didn't know anything about KCF before that, and I didn't attend a live event, so it wasn't a live event. I actually saw a video of you on YouTube talking about book publishing, and I thought, man, that's what I need to find somebody. Because one thing that I remember from my time at Walmart was Sam Walton said the reason he was so successful wasn't because he knew it all. He said, the reason I was successful is I surrounded myself by people who knew more than me. And I thought, I can do this. I can do this. I just need to find the right group to surround myself with, and I can learn it. I know I can learn it. And so when I saw your video, I thought, man, that's the group. That's who I need to get hooked up with. And I can learn from these people because they already know the ropes. And so that's why I joined.
How important is that? Like to have people how important is it to have someone who has the roadmap already and to be able to follow along without allowing ego to interfere?
Well, for me, it's a game changer. Because I'm being honest with myself. If I had tried to do this on my own time, I would be struggling so much because there's so many things I didn't know.
Right.
I didn't know about book promos, book swap. I mean, I didn't know about anything. And so for me to just try to get in there and do it on my own, I could have done it. It's not that I couldn't have done it, but it would have taken me a lot longer. And I was like, hey, at my age, I got a fast track. I'm I'm a little later in my career than when I was in my 20s, right? I'm like, I don't have time to just kind of figure it out on my own. So for me, it's a game changer to be surrounded, with people that have done this. They know what works, know what doesn't work. They've got the roadmap. I'm like, yes, please. That's what I need. So it's been incredible.
Very cool. I think to add on to that, and like, I wish that I had known this stuff at 20, right? Hell, even at 30, gosh. Like to find someone that already knows the route and just to, attach myself to them. Yeah. Like imagine that. Yeah. Right? And then to also find a community of people, because in this community, we have a ton of different people who all specialize in different areas and who are super helpful. I think that's one of the things that really allows people to see their greatness, right? You've got someone like Nate, and I want to talk about Nate in just a minute, because you created a video kind of thanking some of the people that are in the community, whether they're coaches or other students. And I thought that was really, really cool. If you guys have not seen Andrea's video, go into... Did you post it in the Fastpass group or?
Yeah, I posted it in the Fastpass.
Okay, so you may not be able to see it if you're not part of a Fastpass. Maybe we'll get her to share it in the regular group as well.
Yeah, I can do that.
Everyone can see that. But I want them to see it because it's important to be able to release ourselves. Sometimes we get to a certain level or a certain age in life, or we think that, and I'm talking from my own personal experience. We think that we know everything. And we're a little bit resistant to learning from others. I've seen my biggest growth periods in life where I just said, hey, Ty, you don't know everything about X. Go in and get a coach or learn from someone else. So the fact that you went in and acknowledged the coaches that are in the Fastpass program, the fact that you went in and acknowledged some of the other students that are in the Fastpass program and created this video was just a beautiful thing. Like what inspired you to do that? Because you didn't just wake up one morning, or maybe you did wake up one morning and just said, hell, I'm going to create a video.
Well, I think, I just feel so grateful. A lot of it is just, I wanted people to know that I'm grateful for their support, that it hasn't gone overlooked, that it means a lot to me. And I thought, there's so many people, I just need to do a video, because So, because I wanted to thank my coach, Rodney Clack. I wanted to thank Nate for helping me with my Facebook ad testing. I wanted to thank all the people that I am in this mentoring group with. So we formed our own kind of mini mentoring group, and we meet once a week every Sunday morning. And that's been so helpful because we get to celebrate each other's successes together. And then we get to kind of help each other figure out the struggles and the challenges we're faced with. We try to help each other out. So I just wanted to just tell people that, hey, don't look at your obstacles as something that's going to hold you back. If you just approach it with, I can do this, and a go around mindset, you'll really come to realize that those obstacles are really just distractions. You can get around anything. I mean, you just have to surround yourself with the right people. And that's what I've really focused on from the day that I got in the group. I reached out within the first month to Sue White, Carolyn Trainer, because I wanted to meet other women in the group that were successful. Yeah. Because that inspires me to see these other women who are doing it. And I want to be like that. I want to. So I reached out to people early on and just said, hey, I'm new to the group. I'd love a few minutes of your time. Would love to meet you. And it made a difference. It made a difference.
So how receptive, I'm curious, like how receptive were they? I think I already know the answer, but maybe I don't. How receptive when you sent, because you sent like a personal DM, right? A Facebook message to them, right?
I sent a Facebook message, just introduced myself, told them I was new to the group and that I wanted to meet some other successful women. I said, because I want to be there too. And you inspire me. And I mean, everybody, I didn't get a chance to get on the phone with Carolyn Trainer because of our time difference, but she and I text back and forth. She gave me some advice. She said, hey, look at this, da-da-da-da-da. So, I mean, I felt like everybody was very welcoming, was very, giving of their time, their energy, their knowledge. So, yeah, I felt embraced. I felt really embraced.
Really cool. You know what? So, Andrea, as I'm listening to you, I had a call with Sue, Mattel, Rodney, and Caroline last Friday or so. And Caroline's at $800 a day with her publishing right now. That's where she's at. And one of the things that she talked about, and then she actually talked about this at the last KCF Live, now that I think about it, was she did exactly what you did. So she reached out to like everyone that she thought would be an influence in her business. So to hear that you're doing the same thing, like you're definitely on the right track again, because she said that she was reaching out to certain people. The other thing that she said she did was she would go in the Facebook group, the Fastpass group, and look at their posts. So if it was someone like Seth, right, she would go back and like, she said she literally stalked like these individuals and went back and looked at like all of their past posts, looked at how they answered questions that other community members asked. Yeah. So to hear that you were kind of on that same track, it just makes me just really feel good.
I tell you what, I did that too. So I would go in and type somebody's name in and read everything they posted. And if it was something that I thought, ooh, I need to know that, I would save that post because you can save them. So I would say, I'm like, oh, I'll need to know that when I get to that point. So I better save that post. So I've got hundreds. I've got so many posts saved from just going through the group and, reading what everybody's written. And, there's a lot to learn. For me, I started at the ground floor. I didn't know anything about this business before I got started in March. Nothing.
Yeah, there's a time. You should definitely reach out to Caroline, and I'm going to talk to her. I think I have. I'm going to be talking to her maybe in about 20 minutes, actually.
Well, tell her I said hello.
I definitely will. You guys are like similar spirits, so I definitely want you guys to talk. She's over in the UK. I know Sue. Did you get a chance to talk to Sue? Sue's in.
I did. Yeah.
Canada. Yeah. All right. So Sue's another amazing person as well. So let's talk about Nate Mascari, right? So Nate's another coach that's in a Fastpass program, and he's our Facebook ads expert. Like, how has just getting a chance to interact with Nate changed things for you?
So Nate doesn't know this yet, but he has eliminated about 75% of all my anxiety around Facebook ads. Because really, seriously, when he and I first met, I said, Nate, I'm so excited to talk to you. I said, but I have to be honest with you. Yeah. Facebook ads makes my heart just like skip a beat. I'm so nervous about it. I don't know what I'm doing. He said, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And I really feel like Nate is my brother from another mother. That's my nickname for him, because we have a lot in common. Nate and I actually have a lot in common. He actually has family that's from where I live.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, he goes, every time you call me, I think it's my dad calling me.
Oh, wow. That's really cool.
Same area code number. So anyway, we have a lot in common, and I really just appreciate Nate. And he has taught me so much about how to test in the right way, a very scientific approach of how to test into what is going to be your winning campaign, so that when you launch, you kind of already have that winning campaign figured out. And I'm like, well, God dang, that's what I want to do. Yeah, let's do that.
Makes sense.
Yeah, he's just brilliant when it comes to that. And he really has eliminated 75% of my anxiety around Facebook ads. So I'm probably going to live another 10 years just because of Nate Mascari.
There you go. Hey, that's an awesome contribution that he made there.
Yeah.
The thing I like about his Facebook advertising approach is it's so simple.
Yeah.
Like it is, and I don't want to give it away here on this call. If you guys are interested, definitely reach out to Nate. But it's like test this element, then test this element, and then test this element, and then you merge them all together. So it's literally like a 3-step process.
Yep.
Right. And the click-through rates are insane that you start to get, like 20% click-through rates and just 15% click-through rates. He showed me one the other day where it was like a 25% click-through rate, which is unheard of. Cost per click like at 5 cents, 7 cents, 4 cents. So it's definitely a game changer. I'm glad that you guys hooked up, because he was telling me about, the fact that he was working with you and everything else. So very cool. And if you guys want to hear more about Nate and what he's doing, absolutely be sure to get your tickets to Kindle Cashflow Live, because Nate is going to be a special guest at Kindle Cashflow Live, and he's actually going to be sharing some of his Facebook advertising tips, which you don't want to miss. So the next thing is, how has the Fastpass program helped you to achieve your goals?
Oh, gosh, we could be here all day. One, I think it's given me the roadmap, right? The roadmap of what I need to do, when I need to do it, and how I need to do it. And that right there is invaluable. Otherwise, you're just like, well, let me try this. I wonder what happens if I try that. I feel like I have a very solid plan and path to follow.
You're not guessing.
I'm not guessing. Yeah. I'm not wasting time guessing what do I need to be doing here. So I would say that for sure. Just being surrounded by such amazing, talented folks. I've met a lot of folks in the group. I've called people. I've connected with people. So I just love my KCF family. It's kind of, when I lost my Walmart family, it was pretty tough on me. But I feel like, gosh, I got this great family with KCF, and everybody has been so nice, so fun. So I've really appreciated that as well, but it's changed everything for me. And I think it's really going to help me, go out in October with an amazing launch.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Like I'm looking forward to seeing your updates, because you update a lot in the group as well. I'm curious, how much time do you spend on your business? Like, what does that look like? Are you working on it every day, every couple of days, weekends? What is your schedule? Because I know everyone's schedule is different.
I work on it. So here's my schedule. I get up at 5:30 every morning. I get my coffee, start working, and I work until about 6 o'clock. I take about a 3-hour break to spend with my family. So I'm off from about 5 to 8, where we eat dinner, do whatever we need to do in the evening. And then I get back online at about 8:30, and I'm online till about 10:30 or 11. I work on the weekend about 3 hours on Saturday, 3 hours on Sunday. And sometimes I still feel like I can't get it all done right now, but I'm still doing a lot of it myself. So I haven't gotten to the point where I can really outsource and automate things yet. So I'm just like, this is how it's going to be right now until I get to that point where I can start outsourcing more.
Yeah. And that sounds like my story. Like I was, Tony Robbins says, if you want to get great at something, like beyond great, you totally submerge yourself in it.
Yeah.
And when I heard that from him, I'm like, that's what was missing. Because before that, I was just being casual. Like I was just dabbling in it. Here, I'll do this and I'll play around with this. And then, but when I heard totally submerge yourself in it, that means like live, breathe, and eat it.
Yeah.
Then I started to take it a little bit more serious. And then the results show, right? So anything, right? So that applies to anything here. So here's the other thing. So when you made your very first book sale, I saw that you came into the group, you posted about it. How did that feel? Like I always tell people, for me, like my first dollar or the first sale is like the most memorable right there. So how did that feel? Because I knew you, like you also had some struggles, like going almost 3 months trying to find a decent ghostwriter, like your Fiverr account got suspended. You ran into issues formatting your books, but you kept going like,
I was like, I'm doing this. And I just kept gritting through, pushing through. But no, that first book sale was so exciting. I called my mom up and she was in the evening and I said, Mom, what are you doing? And she goes, well, honey, I'm watching TV. Why? What's up? And I said, I sold my first book. And she goes, you sold one book? And I said, yeah, it's my first book. And she was like, okay, well, that's good, honey, you know. And I was so excited about that first book. And of course, now when I tell her, hey, Mom, I've now sold 142 books. She's like, 142 books? How are you doing that? You know,
your mom gets it. Mom gets it now. She's like 142 books.
She goes, what are you doing?
Hey, listen, wait until you tell her that some of those sales came from outside of the United States. I find that that's where people like really get fascinated. When you're like, man, I've got people that are in the UK or Canada buying my books. They're like, what? Like, how? So that's really cool. And like your first book, you're never going to forget that. Like you're never going to forget the fact that you sold that book and then you called your mom and her reaction.
Yeah, she was not as excited as I was, but it didn't damper my excitement. I was still really excited about it. So it's kind of funny. And one thing I want to mention too, which I always like to think outside the box, but I used to do film work. So I've actually produced a couple of full-length films. And I'm thinking, this is a series that I could turn over to somebody and have them create a screenplay from it. So
absolutely.
I'm totally gonna, that's one of my things I've jotted down for future ways to optimize this story is to have it turn into a screenplay. And I've got connections in the film world. So who knows where this could go, but.
I mean, it could be a television series, right? It could be a short. It could be, I mean, there's just so many different things. It could be a YouTube series. I mean, it could be a Facebook series. You see all of these different social media properties now, they allow series, right? So they'll allow you to go in and publish different series. And, I definitely see that. That. One of the number one correlations that I see between people like yourself who are successful and who are on the right path with what we teach and those that are not as much or not as successful is that people like yourself, you love sharing your progress. Like you'll come in, you'll share your progress reports, you'll share like what's working for you, you'll ask questions. Like you're consistently in the Fastpass group, posting, helping, and contributing to other people. Like has that always been you, or are you just seeing other people in the group doing that and you said, let me follow them?
Well, I think both, right? So looking at the other people that I'm trying to learn from and seeing, okay, well, every time they hit a milestone, they talk about it, they post about it on a regular basis. I need to do that too, right? And I genuinely love to help people. I have a coaching business as well, Heartfire Stories. So, I coach people on how to tell better stories. And so I genuinely love to help people wherever I can. And so, that's one reason I posted that video, because I know there's people struggling in the group because I see the post and I'm like, God, I can feel their struggle because I've been there. And, we can get through this together. We can help each other out. We can, knowledge through experience, through the journey. It's both reasons. I want to do what the people are doing that I want to be like. And I also want to help wherever I can.
That's super smart. That's super smart. So we're going to close it up. I'm not going to keep you here much longer. I could actually talk to you all day long.
This has been a lot of fun, Ty.
I got a couple of more questions. So really quickly, in the Kindle Cashflow community, one of our sayings is we are our brother and sisters keepers. How has the community had an impact on you?
Oh, wow. Well, again, I just want to say when I first joined, I really felt embraced by the KCF family, right? So whether it was a question, whether it was, hey, I don't know what I'm doing, and somebody would say, well, here, try this, I felt just immediately embraced. And that was just such a great way to be welcomed into the community. And And then I think just the motivation that's been shared on those really difficult days where I'm having some really tough days. People just saying, "Hey, I've experienced that too. Here's something that I tried, or here's what helped me." Just that sharing of knowledge has really kept me motivated, and it's really just made me believe that I can do this. It's really helped feed the belief that I can do this.
Yeah, that's big, right? Like when you're down and when you're doubting yourself, just someone else coming in and just saying, "Hey, I went through the same thing."
Yeah.
That push it's just like re-energizes you.
It really does.
Right?
It really does. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's why it's so important to have people that are on the same path of you as you, that are thinking along the same wavelength as you, because sometimes we don't get that. Like we don't get that in our immediate community. Sometimes you don't see someone that's on the same journey as you. You don't see someone even in the same household sometimes. There's been
Right.
journeys where I've had, and in my same household, like my excitement doesn't carry over to them, but I can go in and talk to someone that's across the planet and like they're equally as excited. So I think
Right.
that is beautiful. That's a beautiful thing there.
Yeah.
What's next for you? Like, what's your next goal? Like, we know that you have your launch coming up. We know that you've got your coaching business. We know that you're thinking about possibly turning your stories into some type of a film or something. Like, what's next for you as it relates to Kindle publishing?
Well, I think, after I get this first series out, it's really just figuring out, because my ghostwriter that I'm working with really enjoys working with me. And she's like, let's keep building this out. Let's just carry this out as far as we can take it. Yep. So we've already started ideating on some series that can come out of this first series, which I'm super excited about because I love the characters. The characters are fantastic. And the fact that she wants to work with me long-term, I'm like, yes. So now I'm kind of looking at a new series. I'm kind of doing my research and modeling for a new series that I'm going to start with somebody else. Yep. So just getting that together. But I love this business, and I want to take it as far as I can. I've got some pretty big goals here pasted up on my second monitor, which you can't see because it's actually facing this way. But I look at my goals every day and I'm like, I'm going to keep working this business. I'm going to hit those goals.
How important has goal setting been for you?
Very. And I think that comes from my corporate career because that's how we were measured. That's how we were compensated as far as bonuses is, did you hit your goals? So goal setting for me was kind of ingrained in my being from Walmart.
I think it's super important. I think if there's anything that's worthy, like you can't get to it without, you could get to it, but having goals in place is going to make it so much more clear. It's going to make that path a lot more distinct for you, and it's going to make it easier.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. You know exactly where you're at. Hey, Andrea, this was amazing. This was beautiful. In closing, for the person that's watching this and they may have some struggles, we know that you've gone through some obstacles personally, as well as with Kindle publishing, right? Like the ghostwriters and the freelancer account, not freelancer, but your Fiverr account getting shut down. The person that is watching this right now and they need a couple of words of inspiration, they need someone to let them know, hey, don't give up just because they've had an obstacle or two. What would you say to that individual? I
would say you can do this. If I can do it, I know that anybody in this group can do it because I literally had to learn everything from the ground up. So you can do this. Just when you have those days that are tough, just, turn that mindset on of, hey, this is just a little hurdle. And it's a hurdle that I can jump. And if it's a hurdle that's too high to jump, then crawl under the damn thing. You can get through it no matter what you're facing, and reach out to people. I've reached out to people so much and it's been very helpful. So if you're struggling and it's something that you can't figure out on your own, ask for help. There's a lot of people in the group that are happy to help. So
and that's what they're there for. That's what the group is there for. It's there to be a resource, right? It's there to be a resource. Hey, Andrea, this has been perfect. I can't wait to talk to you again. As a matter of fact, I'm going to put you on the spot, folks. Let's see if we can get Andrea at KCF Live for about 15 minutes to talk to her there. She doesn't know it. I didn't say it. I can tell by the look on her face. She's like, what the hell is Ty doing here? But if you want to see her at KCF Live, just type in KCF. And if we get enough people to comment KCF, maybe she'll come in and join us. If not at the upcoming KCF Live, maybe at one in the future. We'll see what happens. You never know. As she just said, when you ask,
you shall receive.
You'll receive, and we'll see what happens. Hey, Andrea, your coaching business. where can people reach out to you? Where can they find out more about what it is that you have to offer?
Yeah. So my coaching business is just AndreaCadelli.com. It's Heartfire Stories, but that's where my website is with all the information about what I do. Or I'm on Facebook as Andrea Cadelli /Heartfire Stories. So either place they can find me there.
Very cool. Reach out to her.
Yeah.
And definitely come into the Facebook group, either Facebook group, and reach out to her as well. Let her know in the comments that you've gotten value out of this interview. I've definitely gotten a lot of value out of it. And when you go in and comment, like, and share, remember, you are entered in to win some of the cool prizes that we talked about, the Amazon gift cards. Yeah. We've got these Apple AirPods. We've got the Apple Watches that my daughter has been trying to come in here and steal one of these Apple Watches. And I'm like, listen, this is for the Kindle Cashflow community. And then last but not least, we have the MacBook Air computers. Marty loves giving these things away. We've given away maybe about 6 or 7 of them over the last couple of months. So lots of stuff. Andrea, this has been beautiful.
Thank you, Ty. It's been a lot of fun. And hey, my Apple Watch, just so you know, is the very first generation Apple Watch. I'm still wearing the first generation Apple Watch. So
hey, you might have one of these in your future.
I'm going in, man. I'm trying to win a new Apple Watch.
There you go. I love it. Hey, join us for KCF Live. Get your tickets right now by going to kcflive.com. And as I said, post below, comment, show some appreciation, show some love for Andrea, for her being generous enough to come in and give us an hour of her time. Didn't I tell you it's going to go by fast?
God, it flew by. It doesn't seem like it's been that long. Wow, an hour.
Hey, thank you, Andrea. Have a great one.
Thank you. All right.